Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. It is Wednesday, and we have a great show for you today. First, we have updates on the Kouri Richins trial, as well as the Colin trial that we're streaming to you live. We have a story about a jilted woman sentenced to 20 years for shooting her married pastor after he ended the affair. Daily updates halted in the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mother. A bizarre ransom plot unravels as friends allegedly stage a kidnapping. We've got a little cell phone talk. We've got this day in legal history. Our quote of the day has to do with the Medal of Honor and our dumb criminal. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, hit that little bell for notifications, and you can always check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, before we get to the show today, let me remind you to go to Crime Talk Prep. Listen, in today's uncertain times, true preparedness brings lasting peace of mind. My Patriot Supply, trusted by millions of American families, offers the ultimate solution with their 3-month emergency food supply. This premium kit delivers over 2,000 calories per day for 90 days through 22 nutritious meal varieties, free of artificial ingredients or preservatives. Now, proudly, this is made in the United States, and it arrives in durable, stackable buckets and is engineered to remain fresh for up to 25 years. Now, exclusively for our listeners, receive $100 off when you order today at crimetalkprep.com. Visit crimetalkprep.com now to secure your family's long-term food security. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get to a couple of things. But first, I want to just highlight something. I don't know if anyone watched the State of the Union address, and we're not getting into politics, all right? But I just think it is worth noting. The two individuals were awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest medal for anybody in the United States military. It's for bravery above and beyond what anybody would expect anybody to do. And obviously, a lot of medals of honors are awarded posthumously after you're dead, right? Because they didn't survive it. But the harrowing acts that they did, basically, they should be dead. And the people that lived through it survived. It's amazing. So take a look. Chief Warrant Officer 5, which is the highest warrant officer rank that you can get in the military. And this Eric Slover. So CW05 Eric Slover. Now, take a look at this picture of this guy. Did they call Central Casting and say, we need a helicopter pilot for, the guy that's going to fly in Delta Force? Basically he planned the Maduro raid as it related to the helicopters going in, and he was the flight lead. He got shot in his leg, apparently shredded his leg, was still able to successfully get the helicopter positioned so that the gunners on the side could take out the people that were shooting at him and shot him. And then he successfully landed his helicopter so that that raid could go on and obviously capture Maduro. He literally nearly passed out because of his injuries, but it was above and beyond the call of duty. He probably should be dead. But like I said, that guy looks like Superman. I mean, he literally looks like casting for Superman character. So absolutely amazing. Hats off to him. The guy had to be in a walker because of his leg. Apparently his legs were shattered, but he stood up to receive the highest award in the United States for the United States military. Hats off to him. The other one was Navy Captain Elmer Royce. The guy is 100 years old. All right. He got a Medal of Honor for a dogfight that took place in the Korean War. But it was basically made top secret, like it never happened. Why? Well, it was the Korean War. But the Russians had sent the planes, and he was in a dogfight, 7 Russian fighters against him. This dogfight went on for 32 minutes, I think was the exact number. He shoots down 4 of the 7 Russian bad guys, and basically, he becomes an ace, and can't tell anybody about it because it didn't happen. Why? Because it was supposed to be Korean pilots up there doing that, and they didn't want to escalate the Cold War by making it be known that it was actually Russian pilots. So 50 some odd years later, Captain Royce, at 100 years old, gets the Medal of Honor. I don't know about you guys, but that was pretty amazing. Now, there were a couple other awards, and everyone truly deserved the awards that they received, but we were just talking about the Medal of Honor. But I don't know. Like I said, I just look at that guy and like, my God, these guys are true American heroes, above and beyond the Call of Duty, and absolutely amazing. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's go ahead and open the record for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. First on the docket, the Kouri Richins Trial. That's right. The trial regarding the alleged fentanyl poisoning allegations. That's right. So Kouri Richins, the mother of 3 from Camas, Utah, who stands accused of fatally poisoning her husband, Eric Richins, with fentanyl back in 2022 to secure financial benefits, including life insurance proceeds. The prosecutors alleged that she engaged in forgery and fraudulent insurance claims following his death. Now, Richins has pled not guilty to the charges that include aggravated murder, attempted criminal homicide, 2 counts of fraudulent insurance claims, and forgery. Now, the jury trial that's taking place in Summit County, Utah, there at the district court, entered its 3rd day as of today, and earlier proceedings featured testimony from family members of the victim and first responders who responded to the scene on the night that Eric Richins died. On Wednesday, the focus shifted to Chelsea Gibson, a lead crime scene technician with the Summit County Sheriff's Office, who detailed her multiple visits to the residence to document and collect evidence. Gibson described recovering items such as a cell phone belonging to both spouses. She prepared a 3D scan of the home layout. Prescription medication bottles were obtained. THC's gummies stored out of the children's reach were documented, and contents of a safe containing a firearm, ammunition, and cash. She noted the presence of bloodied sheets from the master bedroom floor where the victim was found, and confirmed that no obvious drug paraphernalia was visible upon initial arrival. Now, the defense attorney, Catherine Nestor, conducted an extensive cross-examination, probing evidence handling protocols, potential contamination risks, the placement of items such as a wallet on the nightstand, and the fact that certain prescription bottles had not undergone fentanyl testing. Now, the proceedings included procedural discussions regarding the admissibility of a 911 call and instructions to the jury not to speculate on unrelated matters. The trial is scheduled to resume tomorrow. It was kind of a short day. Court didn't really give a whole lot of reason why it was a short day, but we'll have to wait and see if something breaks tomorrow and that we didn't know about today. Next on the docket, the Colin Gray trial. So Colin Gray is the father of Colt Gray, and he faces 29 felony counts, including second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, and cruelty to children in connection with the September 2024 mass shooting at the Appalachia High School in Georgia, which resulted in 4 deaths and multiple injuries. Prosecutors allege that Gray knowingly provided his then 14-year-old son with access to the firearm used in the attack, and he failed to address known mental health concerns. On the 7th day of the trial, 14-year-old Jenny Gray, sister of the shooter, provided some compelling testimony. She described observing warning signs on the morning of the incident, including her brother's unusual demeanor and an open book bag containing a poster board. Now, Jenny recounted texting her father during the school lockdown, stating that both appeared to suspect Colt's involvement. She further claimed that Colin Gray had previously instructed her to cover for him if questioned by investigators about his son's troubles, citing the father's reluctance to enroll Colt in school due to mental health issues. Now, the 8th day today centers on pretrial evidentiary arguments before the judge. Defense counsel raised objections to the admissions of photographs, bank records, a gun purchase interview, and other exhibits. The judge ruled on several motions, striking certain items while deferring others as attorneys debated over the relevance and the potential prejudice of the evidence. No new witness testimony occurred during the reported portion of that particular sentence, but the proceedings will continue. Now, obviously, the prosecution is trying to establish Gray's awareness and basically complicity. The trial continues with the defense challenging witnesses' credibility and evidence handling, while the prosecution is building the case around the family dynamics and the firearm cases. Now, like I said, I don't like these type of cases. I think that unless you can clearly show that Mr. Gray said, hey, son, let's go down and shoot it. Do you have your gun today? We're going in for the big kill. I think it's tough to show that they were complicit. Being a bad parent isn't a crime. Maybe it should be, I guess. We're going to find out if it is, at least in Georgia. But be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty soon, maybe you're going to be a bad parent, right? Maybe a bad brother, bad sister. Maybe grandparent. Think about that. You know, you try to appease somebody. They got mental health issues. You're not sure what to do. You're just trying to go along, to get along, to keep the peace, so to speak. Maybe like a Nick Reiner type situation, right? Do you think that they would have, let's say Nick Reiner went in and stabbed somebody down at the local store. Do you think they would have charged Rob Reiner and his wife as complicit? I mean, they knew he had mental health issues. Why did they let him out of the house? Let that sink in. Or maybe because it's just a guy in Georgia who doesn't have the means to defend himself and has court-appointed counsel. And, well, let's go after him to get a name for ourselves because, we want to advance from our jobs as a district attorney, maybe to some sort of elected political position. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's going to be interesting. Next, let's talk about the Nancy Guthrie case because the sheriff isn't going to, because they've stopped the daily news conferences. That's right. The Pima County Sheriff's Office have announced that they will scale back routine public updates on the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, the mother of the Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, more than 3 weeks after she vanished from her Tucson home. Now, the decision reflects the absence of any significant new developments in the investigation, which began on February 1st. Now, police continue to conduct DNA testing on collected evidence and neighborhood canvassing, but have shifted to releasing information less frequently unless substantial progress is made. On February 25th, law enforcement cars were observed at the Guthrie residence, indicating ongoing activity at the scene, but no suspects have been identified, and the family has now offered a $1 million reward for information leading to her safe return. Now, as you may recall, Nancy was described as an active grandmother, was last known to be at her home at the Catalina foothills, and Sheriff Chris Nanos has provided occasional one-on-one interviews, but formal press conferences have ceased in the recent weeks, and the case remains open, with investigators urging anyone with relevant details to contact the police department, the sheriff's department, immediately. Doesn't look good there, ladies and gentlemen. And, sometimes cases go cold. It's unfortunate, but sometimes there's just not that much to go on. And like I said, if this was not Savannah Guthrie's mother, do you think it would have got this much attention? Do you think it would have had this many resources thrown at this particular disappearance? No. They probably would have said, she's an old lady. She had dementia. She getting a little slow, wandered off in the middle of the night. Who knows? Thank goodness they were able to recover the video, so we know that's not the case. And everyone should get, the attention and the resources that they deserve, but we all know that's simply not going to happen given the limited resources that exist. Next on the docket, how about a staged kidnapping? That's right, things getting a little bizarre. So the Metropolitan Police Department officers in Washington, D.C. have charged 3 individuals with extortion after police say they staged a kidnapping to demand, wait for it, $500 from a woman's friend. Now, this all occurred back in December of 2025 and involved Shantae Sanders and sisters Nordia Coy and Asia Coy. Now, police received a report of a photograph depicting Sanders tied to a chair and gagged, accompanied by some text messages from her phone threatening harm unless payment was made. Officers traced the device to an apartment in the Pentworth neighborhood where they found Sanders unharmed, dressed in the same clothes shown in the photograph, and she was found in the company of, the Coy sisters. Sanders, who admitted to being intoxicated and with alcohol and drugs at the time, told investigators she had no recollection of the alleged extortion attempt or sending the message. One of the sisters reportedly suggested the episode might have involved her 13-year-old son just playing around. All 3 women now face extortion charges, each carrying a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison. Now, the police there described the case as unusual, noting that authorities were relieved the situation concluded safely without harm to any party, and the investigation remains active with court proceedings obviously pending. But what did you notice about that, ladies and gentlemen? A true kidnapping, allegedly. They went straight to the person that they wanted the money for. They didn't go to the third party, and they didn't wait 3 days to say, please give us our money. They wanted it now. And here was $500, right? The Nancy Guthrie alleged extortion, it was completely bogus. Still believe it is. And I guess this is, like I said, how it's supposed to be done. You go to the person you want the money from, you show proof of life, give it to me as quickly as possible. Next, a woman's heart was broken. The jilted woman sentenced to prison for shooting the married pastor after he ended the affair. That's right. So a Tennessee jury convicted Latasha Daniels of second-degree murder in the 2019 fatal shooting of married pastor Brodus Perry following the end of their extramarital affair. Well, on February 24th, yesterday, the Circuit Court Judge Jennifer Fitzgerald sentenced Daniels to 20 years in prison for the murder to run concurrently with an 11-month, 29-day term for attempted reckless endangerment related to the wounding of the pastor's wife. This incident occurred on April 4th at the couple's home. Daniels, who initially sought marriage counseling from Perry at the St. Mark's Baptist Church in Little Rock, Arkansas, later engaged in a sexual relationship with him. I think that violates all kinds of ethical rules, doesn't it? Anyway, after Perry and his wife relocated to Tennessee, he terminated the affair. Daniels arrived at the residence armed with a handgun and confronted the couple. When Perry refused to walk her to her car and instead directed his wife to do so, Daniels shot him while reportedly screaming, "He broke my heart." She then fired at the wife, striking her in the shoulder as she returned from seeking help. At the sentencing, Daniels expressed remorse, citing some mental health challenges at the time. Her attorney described her act as an impulsive breakdown. The judge characterized the killing as senseless, emphasizing that emotional distress does not justify violence. And Daniel's legal team plans to seek a new trial and appeal the conviction. Not sure what there is to appeal about that, but if it gets reversed, we'll bring it to you. Next, how about a little cell phone talk? All right. Now, I'm going to do a special about a case that is going up to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court has granted certiorari, and it relates to basically the search of phones, or specifically geofencing data. And we've talked about phones quite a bit on this show because it is the greatest tool against any defendant in this particular world that we exist in these days. So let's talk about it. Smartphones are emerging as the crime scene in your pocket in nearly every modern investigation. And that is the truth. All right. It used to be you occasionally got a cell phone and it was limited. And now on any felony case, if they have a cell phone, they will seize the cell phone, search the cell phone, because they know more than likely there is data there. So cellular telephones have become an indispensable tool for law enforcement, appearing in 97% of criminal cases, according to some recent industry analysis. Now, these devices function as a comprehensive records of individual movements, communications, and activities, often providing critical digital evidence that reconstructs timelines, verifies alibis, and links suspect to crime scenes. Now, key data extraction from smartphones includes GPS location history, text messages, application activity, call logs, photographs, videos, and digital payment records. And forensic tools enable recovery of even deleted content and analysis of metadata, even when messages are encrypted. Now, location data from cell phone towers and mapping applications has proven decisive in high-profile cases, such as the Gilgo Beach serial killing in New York and the University of Idaho student murders, where phone records place suspects near crime scenes during relevant periods. Now, it's been noted the rising use of cryptocurrency transaction trails in fraud and scam investigations, and artificial intelligence assists in reviewing vast data volumes, though specialists caution that such tools require verification to avoid inaccuracies. And warrants are generally required to access phone contents, balancing investigative needs with some privacy protections. And that's what we're going to focus on in our special that we're going to do in the next couple of days. And forensic scientists have described smartphones as containing digital breadcrumbs, essential to many inquiries. And users seek to limit exposures are advised to adjust location permissions, use end-to-end encrypted messaging applications, secure cloud backups, and maintain strong authentication. As technology evolves, these devices continue to reshape both criminal activity and its detection. And it's only going to get more use, ladies and gentlemen. People have no idea the amount of information that that phone collects. If you are literally walking down the street and every store has a Wi-Fi address, their IP address, you can literally show where the person is walking because that phone is attempting to connect to those wireless IP addresses there. Scary stuff. It's good, but it brings up a lot of questions. How long should this data be available? Who really owns it? What does the government have to do to actually get it? And is it just a general search? Is it rummaging? And that's what we're going to talk about in the special coming up in the next couple of days. Next, this day in legal history, February 25th, 1862, the enactment of the Legal Tender Act. So, amid the financial exigencies of the Civil War, Congress passed the first Legal Tender Act, authorizing the issuance of paper currency, commonly known as greenbacks. For this is going to be used as legal tender for payment of all debts, public and private. And this legislation represented a profound expansion of federal authority, departing from the long-standing reliance on gold and silver pieces. It enabled the Union to finance the war effort when traditional reserves were depleted and laid the foundation for the modern fiat monetary system. Now, the Act's constitutionality was later upheld by the Supreme Court in the legal tender case of 1870 and 1871, solidifying Congress's broad power over the nation's currency. Next, February 25th, 1870, Hiram Rhodes. That's right. A Republican from Mississippi and former Union chaplain was sworn in as a United States Senator, becoming the first African-American to serve in either chamber of Congress. Obviously, a significant milestone, and it occurred during the Reconstruction era, following the ratification of the 14th and 15th Amendment, and obviously symbolized the transformative level and political changes that expanded citizenship and voting rights to formerly enslaved individuals. Revels' seating in the Senate underscored the enforcement of post-Civil War constitutional protection and was a pivotal advancement in the civil rights history, even as it faced significant opposition rooted in racial prejudice. On this date, February 25th, 1976, the United States Supreme Court decision in Decanis v. Bicca. That's right. In a unanimous opinion authored by Justice William Brennan, the Supreme Court upheld Section 2805A of the California Labor Code, which prohibited employers from knowingly hiring undocumented immigrants. The court ruled that the state statute was not preempted by federal immigration law under the Supremacy Clause, affirming that the state retained substantial authority to regulate employment practices within their borders to protect workers and their local economy. Now, that was a significant statement on federalism in the context of immigration and labor law, although subsequent federal legislation has since altered the broader landscape of employer sanctions. And then we have a quote of the day, and it's a quote regarding the Medal of Honor. And it's kind of a sad situation, but it says, one of the most significant and frequent cited legal observations concerning the Medal of Honor appears in a dissenting opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, joined by Justice Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court case of United States versus Alvarez. And this was a criminal case. The quote is, quote, "Only the bravest of the brave are awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. But the court today holds that every American has a constitutional right to claim to have received this singular award, end quote. So this statement is from the dissent challenging the majority's invalidation of the Stolen Valor Act of 2005, and it underscores the exceptional prestige of the nation's highest military decorations. And the dissent's view regarding the First Amendment implication of false claims to have received it. The Medal of Honor is statutorily defined as awarded for conduct in which a service member distinguishes himself conspicuously by gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. So, obviously, most people in the military know that you don't put anything on your chest as far as awards or medals unless you have earned them. That is probably the most heinous thing basically anybody could do in the military, is a complete disrespect to those who actually earned it. So the Valor Act was passed by Congress, signed by the president. And one of the Stolen Valor people was out there basically running around saying he'd won the Medal of Honor and he had all these other awards. And he was charged with violation of the Stolen Valor Act. And the Supreme Court says, no, you have a constitutional right to be able to claim that under the First Amendment, you have the right to claim you have been awarded any medal you wanted to. And there's nothing that anybody could do about it. So it may not be a valid Stolen Valor Act anymore because it's violation of the First Amendment, but people should not go around wearing awards and medals, even claiming that they have awards or medals from their military service that they did not earn. It is the most disrespected thing to do, because the people that actually earned them, well, they put their life on the line to earn that stuff. So, just something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. And then finally, our Dumb Criminal of the Day award winner. Let's go to Orange County, Florida. In what many rank as one of the more inventive yet thoroughly misguided public health initiatives in recent memory, Richard Jarvis has been unanimously selected as the recipient of the coveted Dumb Criminal of the Day award. Now, according to police, Jarvis entered Pearl's Chinese restaurant in Orange County on Monday armed with not scientific evidence or sound judgment, but with a shovel. He allegedly assaulted the restaurant owner and then embarked on a vigorous campaign of vandalism, systematically destroying the kitchen in what he later described as a preemptive strike against a non-existent global threat. Now, a witness who had just completed her meal recounted the chaotic scene to reporters. The man was observed swinging the shovel and striking individuals in the establishment. And when deputies arrived and inquired about the motivation behind his extraordinary act, Mr. Jarvis provided a remarkable, candid explanation rooted in conspiracy and self-proclaimed prophecy. He said, "I had to destroy that restaurant. All Chinese restaurants are going to release a new strain of COVID on July 6th. He is a prophet, and he is trying to save everyone." All right, first motion that's going to be filed when he gets to jail is motion for competency. Anyway, the self-appointed savior's effort resulted in thousands of dollars in damage to the business. Mr. Jarvis was promptly taken into custody and charged with aggravated battery, assault, and burglary. And in the wake of the incident, other restaurant owners in the area have announced enhanced security measures, a prudent precaution, it would seem, against both routine threats and any additional freelance prophets who prefer garden tools to rational discourse. Now, while Jarvis's commitment to averting an entirely fictional pandemic may have been sincere in his own estimation, police and the community appeared to agree that his chosen methodology fell somewhat short of best practices. And for this singular blend of conspiracy-driven vandalism, creative use of a shovel as an epidemiological instrument, and spectacular failure to foresee the legal consequences of his action, Richard Jarvis proudly claims the title of Dumb Criminal of the Day. Congratulations, sir. The world is now marginally safer thanks to your timely arrest. And I also hope you get the help that you need. All right, Mr. Jarvis, congratulations. You made it. All right, everybody, that's all we have for you today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember, the Constitution matters.